Good evening. This is ASMR'y Spire with my first recording. As someone who watches ASMR videos, I wanted to try and give back to this community. We'll be playing some stress-free games here in Slay the Spire. A game which I enjoy watching others play, but I haven't seen this format done yet. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I can't say that I'm the best Slay the Spire player, but I do what I can. We'll start with Ascension, level 1. This results in more elite spawns, and I think it makes the game just a little bit more enjoyable to watch. This first episode, we'll be using the Iron Clad. If you haven't played this game before, just stay tuned and you'll see how it works. The important thing to know about the Iron Clad is at the end of combat, you heal 6 HP. That's important to keep in mind because it means we can take damage without things becoming too rough for us. Let's start. So, if you've ever played this game before, when you win a round, you get to talk to this three-eyed whale. If you've failed in the past, he doesn't give you a blessing. So that should give you an indication of how good I am at the game. Let's see if we can get a win today. The first thing we'll do is look at the map and see which path we can take to fight the most elites. We've got 1, 2, 3 over here. Right now on this side I only see 2. But there's a third. So it seems like we can take 2 paths that contain 3 elites. So now we want to see how many question marks we can get in each of those paths. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, and over here we have 1, 2, 3. Looks like we'll be starting here, or here. I wonder which fight would be easier. Well, I like sticking to the middle, so let's go. Looks like the first guy we're fighting is a cultist. He buffs on the first round of each fight, so we don't need to worry about defending. Let's just cast a strike 3 times and end our turn. As the game progresses, we draw cards from our draw deck, and they go into our discard deck. Once all of them reach that point, they recycle back over. Now right here, we're being attacked for 6 damage. But if you remember, we get 6 health back at the end of the fight. So we don't necessarily need to block this. We'll end our turn. This right here is our energy. It determines how many cards we can play, and each card has an energy level associated with it. Here, we're going to defend twice. That should block the 9 damage coming in, and give us an opportunity to deal some damage of our own. Now all we need is 2 strikes, and we should be able to finish him the next turn. Let's see if that's possible. Looks like our next hand is going to have 3 strikes in it. So let's end this turn and move along. Remember, the purpose of this channel is for relaxation and ASMR, so we won't be rushing through these fights. However, our pace should pick up after these initial videos where we explain the game a little and go over what happens. Upon ending a fight, we get some rewards. We got some gold to add to our money pouch, and luckily we found a potion. This doesn't always happen unless there's an item that you pick up which makes it happen. This particular potion applies 3 week. We'll talk about debuffs a little bit later. At the end of every fight, I get to check and see if I want to add a card to my deck. These are essentially our moves. Let's go over each of our options here. Deal 2 damage 4 times and exhaust. Up in the top right it says exhaust means it's removed until the end of combat. That means we can use this card once per fight. Here, for Flame Barrier, we gain 12 block whenever we are attacked this turn, and deal 4 damage to the attacker. Blocks last for only 1 turn during the combat phase, and then it disappears, unless you use something that prevents it from coming off your character. And lastly, there's this card, Rampage. Deal 8 damage every time this card is played. Increase its damage by 4 for this combat. Well, if I could speak with correct punctuation, it's deal 8 damage, period. Every time this card is played, increase its damage by 4 for this combat. That means when we play it and it goes to our discard pile, once it cycles back through, it'll deal 12 damage, and then cycling again will be 16. This is a dangerous card to pick because it really relies on you cycling through your deck quickly. But I think that's fun. So let's try it out. Proceed. Once you start on a journey, you're stuck on that path until you reach a point where you can diverge later. Question marks are random events. I wonder what'll happen. As you come to a dead end and begin to turn around, walls slam down from the ceiling, trapping you. 3 faces materialize from the walls and speak. Forget what you know and I'll let you go. I require change to see a new space. If you want to pass me, then you must grow. So we get to pick our option here. We could remove a card from our deck, transform a card in our deck, or upgrade a card in our deck. Seeing as we just took the card Rampage and a smaller deck would be more beneficial for us, let's forget a card. We can forget to block, we can forget to strike, or we can forget to bash. We're going to keep Rampage because we want that to cycle through our deck as much as possible. I don't very much care for blocking, so let's remove one of those. The next card we remove might be a strike to balance things out. Satisfied, the walls in front of you merge back into the ceiling, leaving a path forward. Looks like our next objective will be this fight. We're fighting a spike slime and an acid slime. And wouldn't you know it, they're dealing 15 damage, and I can only block 5 of it. Why did I get rid of that block? Let's see if we can lower it just a bit. Well, this will deal 6 damage. And this will deal 6 damage. Now we only need to worry about this 10. But remember, we get our 6 back at the end of the fight. So let's block and take 4 damage. Oh, 5 damage. This is for ASMR, not for math. Now remember, every time this card is played, we increase its damage by 4 for the combat. So let's deal 8 damage, 6 damage, and another 6 damage, and end our turn. Maybe we'll get lucky, and when our deck cycles back through, and we draw our cards, we'll see Rampage again. Oh, tough blow, but maybe we can just get him out of the way. Looks like we can do 4 damage 3 times, which will be for a total of 12. We were dealing 6 damage per turn, but he weakened us, causing us to deal 25% less damage. The number at the bottom here indicates how many turns we have to play before that debuff disappears. And wouldn't you know it, we got another weak potion for our efforts. Let's see what we can find. Right now, we don't really have a way of attacking multiple targets, so I think it's important that we pick one up. Cleave isn't the most powerful in the game, but it's a good start, dealing 8 damage to all enemies. Before I move forward, let's see what we're passing up. We have a body slam, where we deal damage equal to our current block. And then power through, where we add 2 wounds to our hand and gain 15 block. It says there in the top right, wounds are unplayable status cards, and that wouldn't be so great for our Rampage. They'd probably clutter things up. So we'll go with Cleave. And proceed. Now with Rampage in our deck, we don't really want to be adding too many cards, but an area of effect is very important for us. Let's see. Before you lies an elaborate shrine to forget a spirit, to a forgotten spirit. Let's pray and upgrade a card. With Rampage being our main damage dealer, we want to upgrade this first. This time, every time the card is played, it increases the damage by 8 for the combat instead of 4. There's probably stronger choices, but again, we're not min-maxing here, we're just playing to relax. We have another random event coming up. I wonder if it'll be good. Oh goodness, that doesn't look good at all. A jaw worm. He's already dealing 11 damage towards us. Now we recover 6, so let's block 5. That way we're only getting hurt the amount that will heal. When we bash him, we give him vulnerability. That means I'll take 50% more damage from attacks for the next 2 turns. And you'll notice, like I said, this number here will decrease for each turn. So let's end our turn. He gets to have his turn, and he hits us. He ends his turn, and it reduces his vulnerability by 1. It looks like this is going to be the first fight where we take damage, unless maybe we'll use a weak potion. Let's throw this over at him and reduce his damage to 5, which means that we can block it without a problem. We'll also cast our new and improved Rampage. It dealt 12 damage now because he was vulnerable. But remember, once this vulnerability runs off, it'll only deal 8. However, since it's cycling through, it'll deal a total of 16. And then we'll cast Cleave as well. And end our turn. We'll block his damage, and we'll see that the vulnerability will wear off, but his weakness is still up. So we'll cast Block, and then we'll strike, and strike again, and end our turn. Hopefully we can see our rampage, even though we don't need it, because he only has 5 health and 5 block. Well, we didn't get the chance to see it. So we'll bash him, and we'll strike him, and then we'll gather up his loot. We got 12 gold, a block potion, and we'll add a card to our deck. We have perfected strike, rather. Deal 6 damage. Deal an additional 2 damage for all cards containing the word strike. Well, here's a card that contains the word strike. Pommel Strike. Deal 9 damage and draw a card. And then lastly, we have True Grit. Gain 7 block. Exhaust a random card in your hand. Now remember, we want our rampage to cycle through as much as possible. Adding cards isn't really the best approach for it. We could bring on True Grit and try and destroy cards in our deck to make it smaller throughout combat. That's good for a boss fight. I'm sure there's someone out there who's telling me not to take this. But let's give it a whirl. Proceed. Here you'll see our first elite fight. It's the same as the standard fight, but he's got horns. He'll be a little tougher, and maybe he'll drop better loot. Well, this enemy is asleep. He has a buff called Metallicize, and he gains 8 block at the end of his turn. I've played this game quite a bit, so I know he'll sleep for 3 turns. Let's see if we can get a better hand. What we want here is to not see our rampage at all. Oh, I shouldn't have said it. Well, we're going to deal 8 damage, and hopefully, that's right, he stayed asleep. We want to cycle that rampage through before he wakes up. But even more, let's try and reduce the size of our deck a little bit while we wait. That's 2 turns. And nope, he's still asleep. I know he wakes up at the end of this turn. So let's give him a thwap on the head. And reduce the size of our deck just a little more. Now he is vulnerable. He's going to wake up and he's going to be pretty grumpy about it. There he is, dealing 18 damage to us. And we have no way to block. We can use our potions though. Let's weaken him for 3 turns. And now we can block for 12. So we'll only be taking 1 damage here. And here's our rampage, dealing 16 damage. But 24, because of the vulnerable, I want to add another 8 damage to it the next time I see it. So I'm going to use it right now. And we'll end our turn. Here we go. We got lucky. It came back around. 24 damage. I think 32 sounds like a lot better. So let's use that. 8 damage or 6 damage. 8's a lot better. And we'll deal 6. We'll end our turn and we'll end up taking a total of 13 damage. We've taken 14 overall, so there's no way we're going to heal all the way back up. But that's okay. A little damage never killed anybody. We'll make him vulnerable, and we'll strike him. Maybe we'll get lucky, and we'll see our rampage come up again. He's made us vulnerable, and he's made us weaker. But that's okay. We'll deal 31 damage. We'll take gold, and ooh, Peace Pipe. You can now remove cards from your deck at rest sites. Well, we haven't seen a rest site yet, but this is very nice for our rampage deck. Let's take a look at what we can add. We see Twin Strike, where we deal 5 damage twice. We've already picked up a Cleave, and we discussed Pummel earlier. I don't think we need any of these, so let's skip. Yep, skip. And here's that rest site we were just discussing. It looks like a little bonfire. We'll rest here, but instead of doing anything like healing for our 30% of our max HP, or upgrading a card, let's take our new item and remove a card from our deck. Well, I did tell you we'd get rid of a strike, so let's do it. These up here are called relics. They never get expended, and you can always use the things that they provide. Let's fight another elite. Here we've got the Gremlin Knob. He looks a little grumpy and a little cross-eyed. Let's thwap him over the head with a bash and strike him. End our turn. Currently we have 11 cards in our deck. We want to try and lower that a little bit more. As always, we're going to play our Rampage, so that way its damage gets to increase. I don't want to lose my Cleave to the True Grit when it exhausts, so I'm going to play that first. And then I'm going to gain some block. We can see here he has a buff called Enrage, and when I play a skill he gains 2 strength. And this right here is telling me it's a skill. So we'll make him a little stronger, but we'll block a little bit of damage. More importantly, we'll get rid of one of those cards for the rest of the combat. And we hit end turn, and now we only have a total of 10 cards in our deck, with one of them burnt away over here. Maybe we can get our Rampage back. No luck with that. Let's deal 8 damage. Gain 7 block. And oh, we're getting a little beat up over here. I'll deal 6 damage and end our turn. Now we have our Rampage back, and it's going to deal 16 damage. I think we can deal a little more. Let's make him vulnerable first. And now this 16, when I put it over him, turns to 24. And we got ourselves a Molten Egg. Whenever you add an attack card to your deck, it's upgraded. This is a great benefit moving forward. We won't need to upgrade them at campfires or random events anymore. They'll just be all ready for us when we get them. We'll take our 30 gold, and let's see what we can add to our deck. Feed. Deal 10 damage. If this kills a non-minion enemy, gain 3 permanent max HP. It comes with the caveat of exhausting once you use it. Normally this is an amazing pickup, and likely good for us right now. But I want to really focus on reducing the size of our deck. I think we can get to a nice, quick Rampage build here if we work on not adding anything more. So we're going to skip. Now we come to a treasure. It contains relics and gold. You get one of these per floor, unless you run into one in an unknown room. Let's take a look at what we got. Smiling Mask. The merchant's card removal service is now always 50 gold. Between Toke and Smiling Mask, the game is almost telling us we need to remove as many cards as possible. What do I want to do here? An elite fight sounds like fun. Let's check it out. Ooh, these guys are rough. My least favorite fight in the entire game. They're called sentries. And it's gonna hurt. I'll just let you guys watch this fight and see how it turns out. We're going to attack the guy in the front. I don't like him very much. And maybe just defend a tiny bit against that 8 damage. To be honest, I don't like any of them all that much, but he had the lowest health, so we want to knock him out quickly. You saw me get some cards added to my hand. It's because of one of their abilities, which really hurts our rampage. When those cards appear, we'll read through them. Here's that AoE I was talking about. Let's deal damage to all 3 of them. And this is painful. We missed the kill by 1 HP. Well, that likely could have been avoided, but I'm not going to stress it. Let's end our turn and feel the pain. Ouch. Oh goodness, there they go. And oof, another hit. We've got less than half our health left. I have my rampage, which now deals 16 damage. I could attack him, but that would be a waste of 15 damage to somebody. So, who don't we like more? I don't like this guy. He's looking at me a little funny, if that's even his eye. We're also going to deal 6 damage here. And unfortunately, we're going to keep on hurting. I didn't show you those cards that just disappeared, but we're bound to get more in our next draw. What they're doing is they're stacking my deck with something called Daze. I can't play it, but it is ethereal, which means if the card is in my hand at the end of the turn, it's exhausted, and exhausted cards, as we discussed, are removed from my deck until the end of the combat. So, let's thwap this guy, block a little, reduce the size of our deck, and block again. Well, at least this time we won't be taking damage. There are those dazes. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. Look at how much junk I'm picking up now. There's a reason these guys are my least favorite fight. Well, we'll cleave. And now he's not damaging me. He's just going to give me more of these. So we'll hit him. And we'll hit him. And maybe we'll get lucky. Hopefully, we won't draw too many of these daisies in our next hand. 6. And 6 ends the fight. So we'll get our 33 gold. Sundial. Every 3 times you shuffle your deck, gain 2 energy. Oh, I think we can shuffle our deck quite a bit once we reduce its size by more and more. We're going to skip these cards and move on. I could heal, but we'll be greedy. Let's remove another card from our deck. And proceed. Time for another fight. First thing we'll do is attack all of them. And then we'll deal 6 damage. And then we'll weaken the guy who's hitting us for the most. Deal more damage. Unfortunately, we didn't have any defense there, and we'll end up losing 3 HP over the course of this fight, because we'll heal our 6 over here. Let's knock this guy out, burn a card, and he's going to do something to us, but I'm pretty sure we can get 3 damage off. Let's find out. Oh, there we go. And we're going to skip picking up a card again. Goodness, goodness, we just can't get lucky today. I'm going to block first, and then I'm going to burn a card away. Give him a thwap, and he'll deal 1 damage to us. Ouch. What's his name? He's a slaver. Wow, that's not very nice. We'll hit him once. We'll hit him twice. And we'll defend. Oh goodness, he's going to deal quite a lot of damage to us. Thankfully, we got our rampage, and we'll hit him once. We'll block a little, and we'll block a little more. Stop that 12 damage from hitting us again. And I think we have everything we need. There we go. Do we want to add a card? No, let's skip. Oh, here's a blue slaver. They just can't get enough of me. Let's make him vulnerable. Goodness, he's already dealing 7 damage to me. I just can't catch a break. We'll hit him once. We'll true grit. We'll defend again. Here's our rampage back around. Hit him once. And because I didn't count, we're going to defend twice. I don't know if the vulnerable from the bash would have changed that, but I rushed. Now we'll cleave. We'll true grit, and we'll defend. He would have lived by 1 HP, and I can't afford to take more damage. Here we go. Kaboom! What more do we want? With the boss coming up, this seems like it would be important. I've been skipping the cards by accident. Let's see what we have. Uppercut, deal 13 damage, apply 1 weak and 1 vulnerable. It's for 2 energy. Impervious, gain 30 block and exhaust. And anger, deal 5 damage, add a copy of this card to your discard pile. Well, we certainly don't want to get angry when we're here to relax. Let's skip these and hope we make it through the next fight. Time to see what we want to do here. We could rest, upgrade, or remove a card. We'll play it on the safe side and rest before we fight this next guy. When you reach the end of a floor, you fight the boss. and I hate this boss. He's going to be adding cards to our deck, which is going to make using our rampage that much harder. We're going to deal as much damage as we can, as quickly as we can, to end this before it gets too messy. Oh goodness. 5 damage 6 times. We'll use our rampage, and we'll at least block 10 of that 30 damage. Youch. Oof, 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 oof. Oof, that hurt. Well, now he's just doing 6 damage. So, again, we want to reduce the size of our deck. We'll at least block the damage. But uh-oh, he added something called Burn to our deck. We'll find out what that does here in a moment. And another 10 damage. He won't let up. We'll rampage, block 5 of it, and get him again. We really want to see that rampage card come through as much as possible. Oh goodness. If we had upgraded our True Grit, we could select the card that we burn. But unfortunately, we'll just have to hope. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, go! Oof. Well, at least we can bash him. We should see our rampage cycle through again, so that'll be nice. And here it is, dealing 36 damage. That felt pretty nice. He's made himself stronger. And goodness me, we are gonna get hurt. You'll have to pardon that noise. My cat has decided it's time to run. Here comes our rampage again. And we really can't afford to take more damage, can we? Oh my goodness, we are in a tough spot, folks. Well, it looks like the game decided that we did want to take more damage. Just 1 point. Watch us lose by 1 point of damage. Oh no, oh no, oh no. 40 damage. 8 damage. Oh. Well, as I said, this was our first recording, so it can end in a loss on the first floor. We explained a lot of the rules to this game, I showed you some of the mechanics, and I introduced myself as ASMR Spire. Tune in again, and next time we'll play a little smarter. We'll play a little faster, but more importantly, we'll relax a little more. We're going to end our turn and watch as our poor little fighter gets knocked to the ground, vanquished. Just my luck. Only 128 points. Thank you all for joining me this evening, and I helped. I look forward to making more videos, and have a great evening.